Live, live, live. Here we are, Monday morning, Mindful Monday. Just remember that you are 20% more likely to have a heart attack on your Monday than any other day of the week. So here we are. We're going to go over the three steps, excuse me, three steps to having a hyper productive week. Now, first off, it goes without saying, the most important thing you can do is get a good night's sleep, not only just on Sunday, but every night. And this is a shameless plug for you to go to modernlongevitarian.com/sleep and download my book that is titled Outstanding Landing, How to Get the Sleep of Your Dreams. And my internet came unplugged here. Let me give me a second here. Now make sure we're all good to go. And all right, so step number one is planning. Now, this quote that I have used for years says, is from The Art of War. Sun Tzu said, "A battle is won or lost before it begins." Now, this can go on a daily basis too, planning for shifts in a restaurant or your day that you're going to do, or even a Saturday, how you're going to, your day off, what you're going to do to get ready for the next week, washing clothes or cleaning the house or, doing things like, yard work. Having a plan really is the most important thing. And so what happens is, what does that really mean? The battle is won or lost before it begins. Means that the person that is prepared, right? The person who is planned will have more ability to adjust within the day because you have a strategy, right? Because things are going to pop up. No matter how perfectly you plan your week, no matter how perfectly you plan your day, things are going to come in and it's going to change the way that works, right? And so I have this, I've created this weekly checklist that I have here. You can't really see it. Let me right there. This is the jammer, right? And this is what's going to be, this is a 100-day longevity primer. And what happens is it helps you do things like really put priorities in order. The first question I ask myself is, what milestone or what task would I love to accomplish this week? Or as Tim Ferriss says this, what task can I accomplish that will make the rest of the day or the rest of the week go a lot easier? So that's the first thing, really understanding what is the most important thing you can do to make everything else kind of fall in line. And that's super important. And, also too, you're asking yourself, what can I do to build momentum on? Right? What are you doing that can, maybe it's your workout program. Maybe it's your meditation. Maybe it's, a big project or report you're working on at school or work that you can continue to build momentum on. Maybe it's marketing program that you're really implementing with a marketing team or your team. Maybe it's execution or cleanliness or something like that in terms of what's going on in your facility. So just ask yourself these things. What one thing can I do to make the rest of the week go easier, and what can I build momentum on? And you also can ask yourself, what would I really love to do, right? What would I really love to do? And that way you can focus on the things that you really enjoy and really go that route. All right. So the next thing on this list that I put together to have because see, there's super productive and there's hyper productive, right? Super productive is like, okay, I just had a great week, but hyper productive is like, oh my, what in the world did I get done today? Okay. That are get done this week that I never expected I would get all these things done. Now, as beautiful as your plan may be, right, as you sit here and you lay out your strategy of these things that are super important for you to do, you've done things like putting the big rocks in the jar before you put the pebbles in the jar, before you put the sand in the jar. And that comes from, I think Stephen Covey wrote about that in the Habits of Highly Successful, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And so that you've done all those things. And now step number 2 is realizing this is that, how to dance with an elephant. And now this is my term for knowing that I'm not in control of everything. And so this is recognizing what you're not in control of. And for you control freaks or perfectionists, I'm a recovering perfectionist myself, if you're one that wants to be in control of every single little thing that's going on, this is my call to you to basically say, you're not going to be in control of everything that goes on in your week, your day, your hour, or your life for that matter. And so recognize the things that are out of your control and be able to adjust the plan. You can only hope to influence the dance. Now remember, you're dancing with an elephant, and this really stems from um, my philosophy of the way of the rhino, right? Where the rhino is the second largest animal in the savannah, and that's what the position of general manager is. And you have this herd of rhinos that are leading this restaurant and or leading this organization or this business. And the reason that I really love this concept is because they did a study. A South African and a Swedish university did a study when they repopulated rhinos in the Kruger National Park. And what happened is that back in 1895, all the trophy hunters killed every rhino there was in the park. And then in the 1960s, they started repopulating them. And then in the 80s, they started taking aerial photos. And what they found is where there were high populations of rhinos, there were also high populations of other species that were flourishing. And it was for multiple different reasons. And up until this point, they had thought on the savannah in Africa that the keystone species was the elephant, because the elephant we'd see pictures of them pushing down trees and reclaiming the land and those type of things, but they never really understood the importance of the rhino on that ecosystem until this point. And when you have a team of rhinos that are on the same page, the chef is on the same page as the GM and the owner and the assistants and the sous chef. And, this is my example of working in restaurants in all these years, is everybody's on the same page. Then all the other species around you, all the other people around you thrive. So let's say this, the guests thrive. They have great dining experiences. There's great food coming out of the kitchen. If there's a mistake, everybody realizes that the guest is the priority, and we're going to fix the mistake and recook the steak the right way, or get hot mashed potatoes out, or heat up the soup because somebody wants it boiling when it comes to the table. And so the servers are on the same page. The host is on the same page. Your dish machine operators, they're on the same page, right? Is that what we're here to do is create tremendous dining experiences for people that come in, and so we can grow this business and create raving fans. So getting everybody on the same page starts with everybody, especially the leadership being this team of people that are on the same page, so all other species can flourish. So, but then in the middle of that is understand that you're dancing with an elephant. Now, originally, dancing with the elephant was dancing with your boss, right? Your boss is this dance because they're bigger than you. They're the elephant on the savannah. But it became bigger because we all have these inner elephants that we have to dance with. It may be addictions. It may be emotional outbursts. It may be a rough childhood, or it could be that you don't like your job, or you don't like your boss. You don't like, you're having troubles in your relationship. There's all these different things that be going on that you're struggling with, and you're not really in control of. And these things are these programs are running in the subconscious in the background. They're controlling you. And trust me, I've been there, man. Not easy, balancing all these things. And that's really why I started, doing all this mindful work, and really, getting to the point where I could control these things, or not control them, but work with them, dance with them, right? And understand them and influence them. Because what happens is when you start a new job, and a lot of people starting new jobs right now, and you go in and there's not a lot of respect for you person. You've just been dubbed the leader because you've been given this title of executive chef or general manager or supervisor, and you've just been, given this position. And so you haven't earned people's trust yet. And so you have to take time to gain the trust of the organization, the people, and that way you can influence the dance that you're having with this thing that is bigger than you. So I really encourage you to understand that and recognize what you can control, what you can't control, and really work with that and try to influence it, and don't get frustrated when you don't have control over those things. Before I get to step number 3, I want to tag tomorrow's show. I'm really excited to have Will Slickers on as a guest tomorrow. Now, I've been on Will's podcast, Hospitality Podcast. I was on it 3 times, and they were back to back. Talked about all my principles of, leading restaurants. So how to hire people the right way, how to train people the right way, and then how to sustain an ecosystem, which I just really kind of talked about a little bit here with this philosophy with the way of the rhino and how to dance with an elephant. And so Will's going to come on. He has a new live show as well. It's called Good Morning Hospitality. I watched a little bit of this morning before I started prepping for doing my morning routine, which is super important too for having a great day and a great week, is not only be well rested, but I do breathing exercises, took a cold shower before I got here, meditated, those type of things. And so I just really want to encourage you to tune in tomorrow. Will's such a been a big part of my life over the last almost 2 years that we've known each other, and I've been on this podcast, so it's going to be really cool. And he was a inspiration for me starting all the podcasts that I have as well. And so I don't know if he knows that or not, but if he watches this or tomorrow, I'll tell him, right? So tomorrow, tune in at 10 a.m. Mountain Time for Will Slickers of Slick Talk Radio, the Hospitality Podcast, and Good Morning Hospitality live show that just started today, right? So we're gonna tease that a little bit. So now, number one, you've prepared, right? So prepared your weekend plan. Number two, you're ready to adjust your plan as needed and realize things you're not in control of. And number three, all right, think finish. And thinking finish comes from my dad. And when I started racing go-karts back, I don't know when to tell the year. I think it was 1979, right? 7 years old. But started racing go-karts, and we started racing some of these big races, and I don't know why he did this, but he had my mom paint on the number panel, and I could see it. It was a front number panel when I drove, and it said "Think Finish," really big words. It's the only two things it said: "Think Finish," because there's a saying in racing: to finish first, you must first finish, and so you got to finish the race. So as we're talking about is a productive week, a hyper productive week. We need to finish the week strong, right? Because we want to, this whole thing is about being productive, getting things done, not like, I didn't get anything done this week, or I didn't get anything done today. So how can you do that, right? Well, the thing is that when you build your plan, let's go back to number one, you build your plan and you're talking about what's the one thing that I could do today that can help the rest of the week fall in place. So that's the first thing. What would I love and what can I build momentum on? But you also can envision what this would feel like. What would it feel like to have this super productive, hyper productive week with all these things accomplished that are on your list, right? And you can envision that, and you can use that in your meditation. You can use that in your visualization practice in the morning if you have that, or your journaling practice if you have that. And a lot of you may not have those things, right? But if you can just take a couple minutes and close your eyes, take a deep breath through your nose, right? Inhale and imagine what it would feel like, the feeling of having this hyper productive week. And that way you can keep yourself focused on that. So what happens is that I answer all these questions that I have, what I want to accomplish in a week, right? Then that helps me as I go through the day, or each new day comes, as I write out what I want to get done in the day. That helps me determine what I need to work on that day, and it keeps me on task, right? So, because what happens is without putting your accomplishments or your goals for the week down, there's nothing really keeping you on course and getting you to where your end destination is. We're not setting out and going, hey, we're going in uncharted waters here and we don't know where we're going to end up. We want to end up here. Now, we may have to go this way, backwards, right? I lived in LA, right? So sometimes you got to go the opposite direction to end up getting where you're going because of traffic and construction and those type of things. So you may not, take the direction that you think you need to get where you're going. The whole goal is knowing your end destination. So think finish. That's super, super important when you're started. When you're getting started in the week, is always think with the end in mind. Where do you want to end up? And so as my dad taught me at a very early age, before I was 10 years old, think finish. All right, I got a comment from somebody's saying hello. All right, Steve Weber of the American Gumption Morning Show. Start the week strong. Get out in front of your week. Love it. All right. So thanks, Steve. Thanks for tuning in on LinkedIn. And this show is on LinkedIn, it's on Facebook, and it airs also on YouTube. And I'm so blessed to have this. And to be honest with you, I was on Steve Weber's show, the American Gumption Show, and he suggested that I look into LinkedIn Live because of the amount of people and connections and followers that I have, which is right at just over 30,000. And so that's why I'm doing this. Steve he kind of pushed me in this way. I applied, I got approved, and here we are. And now I'm talking about how to get in front of your week and how to get ahead, and really how to keep the end in mind. Right? Use your imagination and connect that with a feeling of that, and don't allow anything to come in like dancing with an elephant that you're out of control of take you off track of where you want to end up by the end of the week. So again, tomorrow's show, Will Slickers. I'm going to sign off here. Thank you for tuning in. No matter where you are in the world, and on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube. And you know what? If it's your Friday, I want you to have a great weekend. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in.